Hey guys, it's me. Today we're making an edible Groot. I was watching the new I Am Groot series and I thought it was so cute. I had this idea that I had to make a Groot, and that is where we are. For the first step, I just lined a terracotta pot with parchment paper and I stuffed it with some cake, and now I'm just frosting it. And we just have one more step before we finish this base, and that's the Oreo crumb. And I just crumbled up a pie crust because I didn't have Oreo crumbs, and it worked exactly the same way. And now the pot is finished and we can start Groot. Groot will be made out of this chocolate fondant that I found that was actually pretty tasty. I just cut out a rectangular shape and then a small square for his head, which is actually already kind of the shape of Groot's face. I made some indentations for its eye sockets, just kind of following a picture. And this is me apparently just checking up on you. If you're bored, you can just skip to the end and go check out the Groot, but that's kind of bad for the algorithm. Anyway, so I'm working on Groot's hair, or top of his branch head, and I'm just adding some details, some little wood grain pattern, and I'm just gonna go around his whole head. And that looks a little Jack Skellington-y. There, that's better. I fixed his smile a little bit so that he doesn't look so spooky. And we're adding some more wood grain. Now I'm going to work on the body a little bit. The shape is pretty much spot on. I'm just flattening it out a little bit. And I'm just kind of eyeballing the height. And now I'm working on the torso. It's kind of like this crayon shape. And I'm gonna cut the top of it, and that's where we're gonna attach Groot's head by using a toothpick, and that's gonna help stabilize it. But also, if you're giving this to someone, make sure they know that it has a toothpick in it so they don't bite straight into the Groot and impale themselves. That would be bad. Alright, now that Groot's body is reinforced, I'm gonna start a little bit of detail. These are kind of like the little tree branch vines. I'm putting it across and it kind of looks like a robe, and I'll kind of change that later, but right now we're working on the arms, and I'm not really good with arms, so I'm just kind of trying some different stuff out, and you will also see how those turned out. I was trying to go for the Groot dancing motion, which proved to be harder than it seemed. These first arms came out kind of human-like, which look cool, but not for Groot, obviously. So he's waving. Hello. Hey, Groot. Cute. Okay, next arm. I'm gonna do the same thing before I realize, like, no. Groot is a tree, so we gotta fix these hands. And in trying to fix his hands, I just make it look like he's flicking me off. So that's cool. Can I get in trouble for that on YouTube? No, it's fine. He's just pointing up. Anyway, I'm adding more wood grain to the rest of his body, and it'll match his head better. And I realize I need a little bit more detail, so I add another little vine on his arm and another one across because I didn't like that Jesus Groot vibe we were getting with the other ones. And this next part was like the hardest part of making Groot. It was really hard to get his eyes right, so I'm balling up some fondant and cutting up some equal parts and rolling those out and hoping those are the right size for his eyes. So I'm rolling up the other eye, and they're just a little bit too big. He's got big beady eyes, but I don't think they're this big. So I try to enlarge the eye socket, hoping that if I make it deeper, it won't bulge out as much. And now he just looks evil, so that's not gonna work. And I'm gonna try to flatten those out. Doesn't work. I cut them in half. Maybe I'm thinking less beady, and I kind of like that, but I don't. So out with the old, in with the new. And the new is actually the same exact one but flipped the other way, and somehow I decide that I actually like it better and I keep it. Next, I grab some cinnamon and my brush, and I'm just brushing on some cinnamon to give it texture. I spray some green edible spray, and that doesn't really do much, so I stop that. I grab this green metallic edible cake paint, and that works a lot better. And I just put some all around to give it some character and make it more tree-like. And we are almost finished. The next thing I want to do is some more support for the arms. So I just cut a toothpick in half, and one half was for one arm and the other was for the second arm. And now I'm adding this little speck of reflection to each eyeball. Well, I'm hoping to. And it's just going to make it a little bit cuter and make it look more alive as opposed to a blank stare. And I struggled with this because the sprinkles are so small and I didn't have white fondant. So the next few seconds are literally me just struggling with these sprinkles that just are not working. At some point, I had to stop and take a breather before I went back to focusing on this sprinkle that's now in Groot's mouth and just rolling around everywhere. It's absolute madness. Eventually, I just give up with this little chopstick idea and use my finger, and I'm okay with that. That's good to go. Now we have just the final touches and to put it together and we're done. I'm just gonna cut off the excess of the parchment. I added some toothpicks to the base, you can see. Alright, and I think we're pretty much done. We just need to wait for this to dry, and Groot is ready to be eaten. This was pretty yummy because the vanilla cake with the Oreo crumbs and the vanilla frosting was so good. And he still looks so cute. Groot! Groot! Nom 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 nom. Nom. That's it for me, guys. Thank you for watching and have a good day.